The Joe Rogan Experience.
Those folks, those fine protesters.
Joe, there's a major American city where 7 blocks the people have took over it, and I had no idea what you were talking about. So
That's great.
Anything that I say, I don't watch it.
I envy you.
At all.
I envy that you just do that. You just shut everything down. Me, every day I check what part of the world's on fire right now.
I don't like hysteria. I don't like making decisions with hysteria. And when I first became a dad, the hysteria of other parents, I would be looking at them, but I wasn't listening. Because that's what was the tone of everything was saying. Better get some sleep now. And you'd be like, and then anytime you say anything positive about your kid, how old's your kid? 7 weeks. Oh yeah, how is? She's great. She's great. Oh, wait till 7.5 weeks. It's like, dude, maybe you suck at it.
Yeah. How about that?
Yeah, you're sitting there with your fucking legs trembling, right?
All nervous and shit.
Yeah, I don't like, I'm already fucked in the head. I don't need 24-hour news network. Like, who's that guy on Fox News? I always joke with Nia.
Tucker?
He's got great hair but horrible points. Like, if his points were as good as his hair.
Which guy?
He looks like a Kennedy. I mean, he is the white guy's white guy. He was talking about black people going, and when they come for you, and they will, they're going to, it's just like, what are you fucking talking?
Is it Hannity?
I don't know who he is. No, it's not Hannity. Hannity was the guy who they put with that fucking, that like rooster at the end, a chick in the end of his life looking guy. Like, here's your liberal. Dude, and all my relatives who are conservative, like, I mean, look at him. I mean, he's so meek. It's like, this thing is cast like a show.
Yeah, who was that guy that he was with? Hannity and Combs. Remember
Hannity
that?
and Combs.
And the one guy looked like he was on death's door, and he was the liberal.
Oh, he was gray.
Yeah.
He was gray. And the other guy looked like a football hero, astronaut with the square
big,
jaw.
thick face.
Nice fucking head of hair.
Nice
the other guy with the little glasses. He looked like Mr. Burns, right?
Yes. And he had no spine. He wasn't strong arguer.
He was there. He was the Washington Generals, and the other guy was the Globetrotters. Conservative point, and then you put on CNN, and you got all those fucking nitwits with the Situation Room and all of that.
How about Cuomo and his brother?
This is why I wish that there was a comedy club, because there's a bit that's already come and gone. Was what I loved was when Colin Kaepernick, when he was taking a knee, right? All the liberals were just like, well, hey, man, it's just like his opinion, man. This is a time to listen, man. And then everybody on the right's like, shut the fuck up and play football, you fucking piece of shit. Don't disrespect the flag, right? And then Drew Brees tweets something conservative, and then all of a sudden everybody on the right's like, hey, man, this is just like his opinion, man. And then everybody on the left's like, you fucking racist piece of shit, I'm going to fucking cancel you. They literally do this. Everybody believes in like freedom of speech as long as you're saying what they want to fucking hear. Is basically it. And that's why I fucking hate both of those news channels. It actually
very divisive.
It makes my blood boil when I walk into a house with people I know, and if they're watching CNN or Fox, like I can't get past like when people watch like the Kardashians, it's like, why would you do that to your brain?
It is what it's like. I mean, it's very toxic. It's very toxic, both sides. And they never see any good points that the other side is making.
And every video on the internet starts after the thing happened. And it's like you're always like, it's like you're getting 8 episodes in, and you're like, what the fuck? It's like you don't know what's... Like, if you watch the last scene of Jaws, you're like, why the fuck did he kill that shark? There's enough sharks dying out there. You didn't see that this thing was specifically targeting human beings and he needed to do this, right?
How does that relate to the news?
I'm saying when you watch the news, people don't like, they're not filming what leads up to whatever fucking confrontation happens.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
So you're getting a very skewed, you don't know what happens.
You know what a good version of that is?
What they're saying happens could be what happened, or a bunch of other shit. I don't understand how I'm supposed to watch something, you know, like there's obviously obvious shit. Like that shit in Minneapolis was the most obvious shit ever. That guy's a murderer, and those other 3 guys sat around and just watched him fucking do it. When guy's calling out, I can't breathe, and all of this shit, and calling out for his mother, was fucking sickening. That guy's a monster and had the audacity to have a shocked look on his fucking face. That guy's terrible, right? But like, what I'm saying is that thing had all of this, you kind of got the whole fucking thing. When they came up, you had the whole thing. There's so many other, and I'm not talking about cop stuff. I'm just talking about anything. Taking a little piece of somebody's stand-up routine, or a politician says this, or he voted no on this. And what it is the shit that it's usually the shit that was attached to it, which is something I don't understand with politics. Like, why can't you just vote on what you're voting on? Like, should we have clean water? Yes, we should. And then, like, the shit that's attached to it. But we can still fucking dump toxic shit in here. And then when the guy goes to, or the woman goes to run, it's like, oh, this person voted against the Clean Water Act. This is your tree hugger? I'm Joe Blow, and I approve of this message.
Well, here's a good version of that. Remember the Covington school case? There was the kid had a MAGA hat on, and the Native American was beating the drums, and the kid was smiling, looking at him, and they took it, pretending that this kid walked up to this Native American beating the drums and was smiling in his face and mocking him. What really happened is these kids were on a field trip for high school. They're selling MAGA hats. The kids are 16. They're being jerk-offs. They buy these hats and put them on. They're just having fun, right? It's very little supervision. While they're there, these Native Americans are beating their drums, and this guy walks up to the kid and gets in the kid's face and is beating the drum. Now, CNN, all these people went with this narrative that these kids were mocking him. The kid just stood there smiling while this Native American got in his face. But the photo of the kid doing that.
It's disturbing that those, there used to be rules on ownership of media.
Yeah.
I think way back in the day, it was like a rule of sevens, like no one person could own seven, any combination of radio, TV, because you can literally influence public opinion. And that's why, like, I've watched, and dude, 12 years ago, I went down the Federal Reserve fucking rabbit hole. I became the guy you didn't want to talk to.
About the Federal Reserve?
All of that shit, the private thing, it's Federal Express. I went
Jekyll
down.
Island.
Yeah. All of that shit. Yeah. And, like, watching, I just feel like in the last, I don't know how many years, where it's just all of a sudden they stopped being just sort of, everything they were, I think, reporting was always perverted to some level. And now it's just you're sort of watching like op-ed pieces. So I don't know. This is somebody who doesn't watch anything and reads like, autobiographies of football players in the 1950s. So
in this Covington school kid case, they sued. The kid sued and won. They, the CNN painted him out to be a monster. They were getting death threats.
And
kid just stood there smiling.
Did CNN also issue a retraction?
I don't know what they did, but they paid him. I don't know what they. But
that's why I don't like either one of those
No.
channels because of that, and it causes, I think, rational people, like that guy, the fat dude in the bicycle suit, ripping those pieces of paper out of those girls' hands.
Oh, yeah. Jesus Christ.
That guy, that is the result, I think, of watching one of those channels 24/7 and then going on Facebook and writing in capital letters.
Could you imagine if you were there watching that guy rip pieces of paper out of a little girl's hand like that he didn't even know, yelling at her, running up to her where the mother is yelling, "You stop touching her. Get your hands off her." I would have.
Oh, that was the mom? I thought that was her friend.
Whoever that was. It sounded like a woman. It sounded like a woman yelling. Because
The guy
it was a little girl.
He was doing everything but growling.
Yeah.
And then it gets to the point of like, what is in your head that you're trying to defend? Like, what? Like, that's a guy. But then everybody vilifies the guy, which I would rather sit down and talk to that guy and be like, let me ask you this. When you watch that, Floyd video, like, what is it that you see? Because just yelling at somebody, canceling him and making him lose his fucking job, you're just going to make the guy even more angry. And he probably has grandkids that he's going to fill their head before he dies.
So what's the solution? Sit down and talk to him?
I think that should be part of it. Like, buddy, let's just sit down for a second. You were on a bicycle. You wanted to burn some calories. You're obviously into it by the way you're dressed. Okay? You're enjoying America's great parks.
Right.
You come across these kids. Do you like kids? Have you ever attacked a kid before? They're just putting a piece of paper up with the point of view. Like, what do you think led up to that level of a response? Because I have to be honest, like, we've all fucking snapped and done shit. I would like to think I have. And afterwards, I'd be like, what the fuck? Why did I argue that? Why did I say that? Why did I do that? And the only way to kind of prevent from you being a fucking asshole again is you have to kind of walk back and look at it.
Right.
So going at the guy, which I totally understand, because it was so bad it was almost comical, because he was borderline growling at them. And at
Well,
some
you know what was
point,
really bad? He didn't even get the paper from the girl. He grabs the girl. The girl clenched her fist down and held onto the paper.
my favorite part was the sound of the bottom of his shoes that clip
click,
into the
click,
pedals.
click, click.
He sounded like a little show pony. He was trying to growl like a tiger, and he sounded like My Pretty Pony, like somebody should have been combing his hair. So, and I was sitting there going, look at this crazy old guy. And
Okay, but
I don't know how, I didn't think
how
how old I thought he was, but then he was like 60. I was like, this guy's like only 8 years older than me. So he graduated high school like 8 years before me. So like, this guy is almost part of my generation. Like, what experiences did he have that he looks at this whole thing like, you know, I mean, I'm not of that thing saying all cops are like those guys. It's like, no, it's like you have to get those guys off of the force. That's what I think. So, I just don't understand, like, and that was my understanding. What they were putting up there was specific to the Minneapolis case.
Yeah.
So my thing is, as a human being, how could you have issue with somebody trying to put something, you know, honoring that guy or something positive about that? Like, that's what I was confused.
I don't know what she put up. I'm not sure what she put up. It was definitely about the George Floyd protest. You know, maybe
See, that's a great point.
organizing it
I
or-
couldn't see what was written
Yeah.
on the paper, and I filled that in when I watched it. But I really couldn't get over the sound
Yeah, I
of his
don't know
shoes, though. That was really fucking funny.
I just
And
couldn't
when he
get over it.
started walking faster with the bike, it was almost like a great movie trailer for a horror film.
Yeah.
No?
But could you
The
imagine?
60-year-old fat bike rider?
Imagine if that was your daughter.
That's why my
Imagine
projects
if your
never get made.
daughter, you're sitting there and that guy runs up to your daughter and he's grabbing the paper out of her hand. He's running at her, grabbing the paper out of your, while a woman's screaming at him to not touch her. Don't you touch her.
Yeah, I mean,
Imagine.
yeah. I mean, there's only one response as a father.
Yeah. Murder.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't like murder.
No? What do you like?
Maim. I want him to remember that he did it.
That's interesting. That's interesting. That's another level.
Start with the blown out ACL, and you go from there.
Yeah.
Beat him with his stupid shoe. Why do people wear? I actually had to look up why people wore those shoes.
They clip in.
I know they do, but I'm like, what is the advantage of that?
Is there an advantage? It's
yeah,
hard.
I think it's when you're coming up this way.
Oh, you
you can still
yeah.
pull with your leg, so you're getting more of an efficient
Oh, that makes
motion.
sense.
This
They wear
guy's
those for
really
spin
this guy's
classes.
really into
Biking.
and not putting paper on trees. Don't put their dead relatives in their faces.
Just a man that would run up to a little girl like that and grab paper out of her hand. There he is.
Click, 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 click.
That's before he grabs her, Jamie. Yeah, back it up from the beginning because this.
Now,
is when
as
he's
far as
running.
you with your martial art background, you got to be impressed with the way he's using his bike there.
No.
He's sort of like trying to be a little herd. Trying to be,
Bicyclist in Maryland caught on. What does it say? Rewind it. See right there. That's where a bicyclist was caught on video early attacking teenagers who were posting flyers. Is that a teenager? It's a little girl. Is that really a teenager? She might be 13. He just runs up to her, he's yelling at her.
I mean, look, he's towering. Oh my God!
He
Look at her
grabbing
though. Good for
arm.
her.
Yeah. See, I don't know if that's a woman or her friend, but that girl's got balls or ovaries.
I like the
Courage.
little skip step too, like a cornerback.
Well, he's running at the guy with the camera and knocks him over.
The man achieved his goal. Okay, as much as you don't approve of what he's doing.
He achieved his goal. No, she's still got the paper.
I
in
know.
her hand.
I'm joking.
He grabbed her arm. Whatever happened to that guy?
He got charged 3 charges.
I don't know, but they're promoting my
Second-degree
movie
assault.
right there.
Look at that. King of Staten Island. What are the odds? On demand everywhere Friday. You know. I would be in the news. With a big old fucking orange jumpsuit on if that was happening to my daughter.
Oh my
It'd
God.
be a real problem. If I caught someone doing
Dude, you
that
would
to
be like a
anybody's daughter-
fucking badger on that fucking. Just your biggest problem would be, what do I use? I almost think for half a second, like you would be, elbow. What do I do? Choke him. What do I fucking? Dude, that spinning heel kick I saw you do. If you ever hit me with that, I have to learn how to talk again.
Yeah.
Yeah, Joe,
I
it didn't
wouldn't do
happen.
that.
It didn't happen to your daughter, right?
I know, I know,
You
it's
just
a
you just
problem.
went to a dark fucking place there.
I go there all the time, Bill. That's a real problem with me.
I know, I do too.
I go there all the time.
I do think talking about all these protests, I think something really positive is going to come out of this because the fact that so many white people are also and getting involved in it, and so many cops were vocal saying
Yes.
that they shouldn't do that. So I think something good is going to come out of this. I
couldn't agree more. I really do.
I do, and I hope so too, because it's been wrong for way too long, and I also hope that that a bunch of other groups don't use this as a piggyback thing to then do some other shit, which will then
Escalate.
will make people who want things to stay the same, they'll be able to shift focus of like how they try to make like the protesters and the rioters, like the
same
looters,
thing,
the
right.
same people.
Right.
Where it's just there's only you did that, and then at night you did this.
No.
Yeah, the way
Yeah.
that. So I don't know. They're going to do it anyways.
I think once the looting died down, you're seeing peaceful protests that are very encouraging. I think it's great. I really do. I mean, that downtown LA one was amazing. 50,000 fucking people filled the streets, and no crime, or very little, nothing I heard of. It was just mostly people chanting and holding signs.
Yeah.
It looked promising. Look, they gotta. The thing that disturbs me is this idea that they should defund the police. You can't get rid of the police. What you need to do is spend more money and train them better and have higher standards, and do it the way you do the military, where it's very difficult to get in and you weed people out that are weak. Like, that guy was a pussy. That guy leaning on that guy's neck like that
Yeah,
guy's a monster. There's no way that guy should have
because
ever
he
been a
knew he
cop.
was being filmed too, and he just had
didn't give a
no.
fuck.
Yeah, I mean that's like hands in his pockets, like he was just fucking waiting for an Uber or something like that. Makes
He's
you
a
think.
monster.
Yeah,
He's a monster.
Yeah.
And that guy had been doing that forever. There's new evidence that they worked together and they fought. They argued about the way that cop was treating the customers. They worked together as security at the same club. And that cop was a fucking asshole to people at the club. And they argued about it. So they had a personal issue. And there's some people that want it to be elevated to first-degree murder because of that. That he did it on purpose. That
he knew.
He knew that guy.
Oh man, I mean it's just
Yeah, they argued when they worked together, apparently. One of the guys that worked with them said that George Floyd was always telling that guy he's a fucking asshole the way he treats customers, because he would mace people and shit, that kind of stuff, pepper spray folks. He just was the first guy to use violence right away. He had,
escalate the situation.
he had a history of complaints back to 2006. My friend Joe Schilling, the kickboxer, I'm talking about him again, but his fucking page is the most disturbing page right now, because all he's done over the last 5-6 days is post videos of police brutality. And it's police brutality on black women, white old men, black old men, young guys. Oh, it's just police brutality over and over and over and over again. There's a problem of racism in this country for sure. There's also a real problem with people that have the kind of power the cops have, that are weak people, that are sociopaths. And that's as much of a problem as any of this.
Yeah.
Yeah, you tack the racism onto it, and you got a horrible situation. But those people are psychopaths. They're monsters. That guy who did
That
that is a
reminds
fucking
me a long
monster.
time ago. Like I remember talking to a security guy, and he said the best guys are the guys that they de-escalate it.
Yeah.
He goes,
Oh,
you
for
don't,
sure.
because this guy used to put together crews of guys to, I think it was for like rock concerts and stuff. And he said you didn't want to get guys that wanted to fight. You didn't want to have those guys because those guys would be a fucking headache, and every night there was going to be something, and there was going to be lawsuits. Like what he was saying you ultimately wanted was nothing to happen.
Yeah.